So this is what my crazy calendar looks like the month of a book release. If you want to know how to get a crazy calendar like that and everything you need to do when it comes to planning out your book release, then stay tuned for this video. Hello everybody, Aylin Hart here. So this week we are getting back to Author 101 and we are going to be talking all about planning out your book release. Now, planning out your book release, especially if you've never done one or if you're a brand new author, it can honestly be a little bit daunting and anxiety inducing and kind of scary. And the temptation to just hit publish, call it a day, and try and advertise your book is very, very real. But I promise you that with a little bit of patience and some excellent planning, that your book release day and all of that planning is going to pay off as far as sales and everything else. It will also help ease a lot of that stress and anxiety, especially when all of your plans are in place and you can just sort of go along with it. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you don't know what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. And so that's why we are here today, and this is what we're going to talk about. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath and then maybe get a pen and paper and even a calendar, and we're going to get to planning. There are a few things you're going to want to decide ahead of time, and one of them is going to be, and probably one of the most important things you're going to want to decide, is to pre-order or not to pre-order. Now, there are many schools of thought on this. I definitely encourage you to do your research about the benefits of pre-ordering or not pre-ordering, and the benefits and cons of the length of a pre-order. Myself personally, I do the longest pre-order that I can, which as an indie published author is 2 months on Amazon. For me, I just like that, but again, it was a personal choice and one that only you can make for yourself. The second thing you're going to want to really think about ahead of time is how much money can you spend on your book release. Now, if you're like me, I'm a single mom and I'm living on a budget, so everything I do is kind of budgeted, but I also do set aside funds for several things. So again, just make that decision about how much can you actually spend on your book release. That's going to help you plan out everything else that we are about to talk about. Some good things to have in place before you get started doing this is your author platform, and that is having social media presence, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, even Pinterest can be used for an authoring platform. So again, it's a really good idea to have all of these things in place. I know that I have talked about before, one of the big mistakes that I made was I did not have an author platform before I started publishing. In fact, it wasn't until my second book that I actually started creating an author platform, so I was really behind the 8 ball on that one. So definitely have that in place. Everything that we're going to be talking about with your book release, 90% of it is going to involve social media. So love it or hate it, social media is going to be where your presence is, where you're doing your advertising, where you're doing your connecting. So have those 3 things decided, or at least thought about, before you start getting this process going. So step number 1 is going to be picking a release date and sticking to it. And I cannot express to you how important this is, really sticking to that date. Any traditionally published author, they have a date, they stick to it, and then they work towards that date. Having a date that you're working towards, everything else that you're going to do is going to play off of that date. So what I do is I get out my calendar, and the first thing I do is I pick that release date. Now, if you are writing your first book and you don't know your pace, you don't know when you're going to finish the book or how long your edits are going to take and your beta reading, then you might want to actually not even pick a date until you send that book out for edits, and maybe even go 3 to 4 months after that. Again, this is a very personal choice that you have to make right now, but picking a date and sticking with it is going to pay off in the end, and it's just going to take everything inside of you to not hit publish and just get too excited and get your book out there. Step number 2 is going to be having your cover finalized a minimum of 2 months before your release date. Again, we are going to pull ourselves in and refrain from posting our beautiful new book baby all over the internet for everyone to see. We want our cover because we're going to start doing some things with it. So you want that cover so that you can start doing some other planning. Don't post it right away. That was me using my mom voice. Because step number 3 is planning and executing your cover reveal. Now, if you are not familiar with a cover reveal, allow me to explain. So first, you're going to take your cover and you're maybe going to just show little snippets of it, or, you know, creative little ways to just give people a peek of your book cover and just tease the absolute crap out of them and get some excitement going to see the full cover. This is really, really popular in romance, but I've definitely started seeing it in other genres, and to me, it's one of the funnest things you can do, because it's almost like, you know, you've got this big secret and everybody wants to see it, because covers are really exciting and they really set the tone of everything regarding that book. And so just teasing people, and I'm going to show a couple of images of things that I've done with teasing people with my book cover. It's just really fun, and it's a way to hold your horses a little bit and give people a little bit of something, because you know you're dying to, but you're only giving them a little bit. So there are a few ways that you can do your cover reveal, and if at this time you have decided to do a pre-order, it's a really good idea to have your cover reveal at the same time that your pre-order goes live. If you're not doing a pre-order, maybe at least link it back to Goodreads and have people add it to their Goodreads to be read. The whole point of a cover reveal is to start getting that buzz going, start getting that excitement going, start getting people to share it, like, oh my gosh, look at this cover, I can't wait to read this. You know, as kids, we were always taught, don't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to actual books, we absolutely do judge books by their cover. I know that seeing covers definitely gets me hooked. It's kind of almost like, if you think of a book like dating, then the cover is kind of like the come on line, or on Tinder would be, you know, a great picture, are they going to swipe right on that? You know, you definitely want people swiping right and getting excited about your book based on the cover. When we're talking about budgets, you can decide, are you going to pay a PR company to do your cover reveal for you, in which they would get bloggers to sign up and post it on their websites and social media pages? Or are you going to do one by yourself and get other people to share it for you, like readers or even other authors? Again, have all of that decided. So we're going to put 2 months out on the calendar is when we're going to do our cover reveal and our pre-order and all of that. Number 4 would be finalizing all of your graphics. So you're going to need a lot of different kind of graphics, again, to start creating buzz about your book. So one of the most popular kind of graphics that you'll see all over social media is the little teaser card, and they usually will have a quote from the book, or if you have early reviews, they'll have early reviews on them. It's just a way to get people excited and give them something, a little visual or a little taste, or, you know, whet their appetite about your book. Other things that you might want to have ready are a Facebook banner, Instagram sized posts if you don't do the full rectangle size. Now, one of the best things that I learned pretty early on, and I honestly forgot where I learned it. If I remember before I post this video, I will link it down below. But something that I learned when I was researching how to market my book was that all of those little teaser cards should really play off of each other and really be branded to that book, and all have similar theme with, you know, imagery and colors and fonts. They should all, if you lined them all up, they all look like they go to the same book. I really started utilizing this with my 3rd book, which was the first book in my series, and that is Space Between Us. And I'm going to post some examples down below, but you can see that all of my images, they match the cover. I stuck with that sort of midnight blue to keep, it was sort of like a mood. All of the images are a little bit moody and kind of sexy. They all use the same font for the quote, and then I always post the title of the book in the same shade of pink, again, so it looks very branded and everything looks like it's supposed to go together. So with book number 2 in my series, which is How We Fall, again, I stuck with the same color for my imageries, which is sort of that sienna colored background with the writing on it, and then the orange for the font. And then this is when I really started utilizing countdown graphics, which is another really popular thing, and definitely something to consider and put on your calendar. And that would be counting down 1 month out, a week out, 5 days out, and then so on until the book releases. Again, it's just to get people really excited about what is coming. And don't worry about being annoying on Facebook or Instagram and posting too much. This is your book release, and if you have 1 week to be narcissistic with your posts, then this is the week. And people who are excited about your book, they're not going to be annoyed about your posts. They're going to be just as excited about seeing the new countdowns and getting excited about the release date. Again, this is all about buzz, so don't worry about posting too much this week. Then when I got to book number 3 in my series, which is something like this, again, I utilized the same colors throughout, which is sort of that pale blue. And then because it was the holidays, I kind of put little pops of red on some of them. And then I really started linking, my other books because it's a series. Did people want to get caught up? I did countdowns with this one. I went full out with this book release, and to date, and I'm not saying it's because of my graphics, but I really planned this one out really well. This was probably my best book release to date, so there's gotta be something to be said for that. And this one, I definitely did utilize some early release quotes on one of my image cards, and that went over really big too, because having people who've read the book before, now, your readers and people who are looking at your book, they can see that, oh wow, they gave this really high praise. I can't wait to read this book, which is the whole point. Number 5 is going to be contacting bloggers. And at this time, if you have not already, make the decision if you are going to use a PR company to post about your release. Now, there are ways you can do this without hiring a PR company, but some of them are really inexpensive and definitely worth it. And if you don't have that reach with bloggers to have them post about your release or read arcs of your book, then maybe spending $80 to $100 on a PR company, especially when you're brand new, is a really good idea, because you're just going to get that reach that you don't have on your own. I would suggest doing this a minimum of 6 weeks before your book releases, because bloggers have schedules, they have lives, they have all kinds of authors who have other books coming out, and you want to get on their calendars. So again, doing this, like I said, a minimum of 6, honestly probably 8 weeks ahead of time is a great idea, and then that money is already spent or those connections are already made, and you can kind of take a deep breath and relax knowing that your book is going to be out there, it's going to be seen. If you are doing arcs and giving them to bloggers, it's a good idea to reach out and ask them what their schedule is. Some bloggers or arc readers want the book as soon as possible because, again, they've got a lot of books to read and you don't want them doing a rush job on your book. Some of them may want it 6 weeks in advance. Some of them may only want it a week in advance so that they don't forget about the book and forget to write their review. So definitely reach out, ask them when they want it, all of that kind of stuff, and make sure that you have a read-worthy copy of your arc ready to give out and not something that is riddled with errors. Step number 6, plan out all of your social media posts and, if possible, schedule all of them. Things to consider are posting on #TeaserTuesdays, where you're going to post teasers of your book, and you can do this all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all kinds of places. Definitely utilize hashtags to get your book noticed, and we will be doing a video all about hashtags for authors, because hashtags aren't just something cute and funny, they are connectors, and you will find new people, new readers, new people to just add to your tribe through using the correct kind of hashtags, which are so important. I actually do have a blog post all about hashtags, and I'm going to go ahead and link that down below, but I have more to say on the subject. Other social media posts to consider are your pre-order post and pre-order push, giveaways, Teaser Tuesdays, all of your countdown posts. If you are going to be giving out the first chapter of your book, which is something I highly recommend, I always post my first chapter of my book on my author website and then link it back to social media to kind of get more movement going all over the internet for me, creating some of that, juicy SEO flow. Having your available now posts, all of your release day posts, have all of that. If not scheduled, then have it on your calendar so you don't forget. You will be surprised at how fast time goes by, and if you're scrambling to get things ready and scrambling to get your posts ready, it's just gonna, make your blood pressure rise a little bit, and that's definitely not what we want. We want this to be fun. We want to be having a good time with our book release. Step number 7, and definitely not number 7 on the list, but probably the most important thing, is really getting into the indie author community and building and fostering friendships and relationships. The indie author community is amazing, and we live by the hashtag, this is how we indie. Other indie authors are not your competition. They are your biggest support network. And I promise you, as a new author coming in, it might be really scary to try and meet other indie authors, but I promise you, we are always here to guide you and answer questions and definitely deliver knowledge that we've learned. Never something like, oh, well, I learned this and this works and I'm gonna keep it all to myself. We are always eager to share with other authors everything that we've learned. We're also always very eager to help each other out and planning out cross promotion. If you look at my Facebook page, probably the last 3 months, most of my posts are about other authors and their releases and things that they're doing, because I love supporting other indie authors. And then when it comes to my new release or my book, or my cover reveal, and if I ask if I can post something in one of their reader groups or on their pages, the answer is always going to be yes, because I'm also always willing to share that. The worst thing that you can do is try and dive into the indie author community, make friendships, and then immediately start asking them for things. This is not how you want to do this. You want to form real connections, real friendships, real bonds, so that cross promotion is something that is shared equally. Number 8, and if you haven't done this already, getting your mailing list into play. Now, the thing with social media is it only has a natural organic reach of 10%, which is something that I have talked about before, and which is why I've been okay with a slower organic growth, because I want people who actually want to be on my page and who really want to follow me, even knowing that only 10% of those people are organically going to see everything that I post unless I pay to boost my posts. So again, if you're on a budget and you're trying to do this as cheaply as possible, you're only hoping that, if you have 800 followers, then 80 people are going to see your book, and you definitely want more people to be seeing your book. The fantastic thing about a mailing list is those people signed up to be on your mailing list. They want news from you, and you don't have to hope for that organic 10% reaching them. It's going right into their inbox. And so sending out things about your pre-order and giveaways and release date is definitely something that is going to benefit you in the long run, because again, these people signed up to be there. They want to know news about your new releases and books. They are fans, and they're excited to hear from you and excited to help support you and to read your new books. Step number 9 would be planning out takeovers. Now, if you are not familiar with the idea of an author takeover, I will be doing a video all about author takeovers. But the idea behind an author takeover is that you buddy up with another indie author or even a blogger, and you go into their group and you do just that. You take over their page or their group for an allotted time, usually about 30 minutes to an hour. What you do during those is, the basic overview is you post about your book, you do some giveaways, you meet some readers. The general idea is that you are bringing your readers and fan base into another author's reader and fan base, and then you're sort of actually cross fan basing so that they get connected to them and you get connected to their readers, and hopefully everybody has a good time. You give out a lot of books, maybe gain some new readers, gain some reviews, and hopefully gain some sales. Author takeovers are a lot of work. They can be really draining. Sometimes they can be really disappointing, but in the long run, they really are worth it. I know that I gained my first super fan from a takeover party, and she's just been amazing to me over the last, I don't know, year and a half that we've been connected. Everything that I release, she eagerly posts for me without questions. She sent me gifts. I mean, it's just amazing. So author takeovers are definitely something to consider and definitely something to get into. And like I said, if you aren't familiar with them, I will be doing a video all about them and how to do them, basically. But really, you want to be doing takeovers about a week before, the day of, and maybe even a week after. Definitely get a lot of books out there, be giving out ARCs, be giving out freebies, even consider giving out books from the rest of your series if you have a series, and just really having a lot of fun and connecting with new people. Number 10 would be having a release day party. Now, release day parties are really, really fun. They are usually hosted in a group or again on a blogger's Facebook page. And the idea is that you get a bunch of other authors to come in. I think the last one I did, there was 10 authors, not including myself. And they did takeovers all day. And then I was the last one. Everything kind of ties into your book. Usually they do end up giving out copies of your book for you, but then they're also promoting themselves. And it's just a really fun way to spend your release day with a bunch of other authors and other readers and partying all day on Facebook or even on a blog if you do one on there. It's a lot of fun, and you give out a lot of books and you meet a lot of people, and it's really, really, it's a really good thing. So again, planning that out if you want to do one, probably well in advance. I would say at least 4 weeks in advance would be really helpful to get with another author if you're going to do it in their group, or getting with a blogger if they do release parties on their page. On release day, you're going to relax, take a deep breath, and have fun. Socialize, thank people, reach out to the blogs who shared your stuff, reach out to the other authors who shared your stuff, and just really have a good time, form deeper bonds with these people. And seriously, don't check your sales all day, don't check your rank all day, just have a good time. You just released a book. This is the time to take a deep breath and just celebrate the fact that your book released, instead of worrying about sales and worrying about rank. That will come, but just enjoy the moment and enjoy the fun. I hope that today's video was in some way helpful, especially if you've never planned out a release before. There's probably a lot more stuff than just this that you can do, but this is a nice foundation and a good game plan for the beginner to really start getting into their release and start planning it out. If you liked today's video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and little notification bell that's next to it. You'll get notifications every time I post a new video. Next week, we will be talking about marketing your book, and even though there's tons of videos out there about marketing and there's books about marketing, hopefully I have some new ideas or ideas you haven't heard, or maybe just some interesting ways of doing things, and we will just keep this authoring 101 going. I'm pretty excited about this, and I hope that you guys are too. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.